So as you all know, I posted a vlog recently explaining why this episode would be a bit different. For those of you who didn't see that vlog, basically those dudes I'm going to talk about in this episode have 8 albums out, but I can't find the first 3 anywhere. And trust me, I did a lot of digging to try and find them, and I couldn't. But because I couldn't find anything, I'll only be reviewing their most recent 5 albums. I say recent as 2008, which is almost 10 years ago now, which is weird. Despite them being around for a decade and a half by now. So straight from the path, I know very little about them besides the fact that they're from New York, and I'd only listened to one song from them before bothering to start going through their stuff for this episode. That song was Outbreak from Subliminal Criminals, and it's a pretty good song. In the case of bands I'm majorly blind on that I want to cover in an episode, I find that I have to listen to at least 1 or 2 songs before actually getting around to it. With that little said, let's get this on like Donkey Kong. This is Backtracking, and this time it's New York-based hardcore punk band, Straight From The Path. So we start with their 4th album, Villains, released in 2008 via Sumerian and Victory Records as well. Wikipedia wrongly lists this album as the band's 3rd because not many people know this, but the band's first ever release actually came out in 2001 and was self-released. It wasn't self-titled, I was going to say, that was called People Over Profit, I think. I guess Wiki just doesn't count it, though, since it's self-released. Anyway, back to this album. Produced by Kurt Ballou, because they're a hardcore punk band, so of course it was him that did it. It's a really good start for them, but short one at that, just over 20 minutes. It's probably the shortest output from what I've read up and what I've been able to research. I've seen episodes of Power Rangers that are longer than this album is, and the sad thing is that's not an overstatement. If I'm not wrong, I think this first album to have the lead singer Andrew Juriok DiGiorio, which is a great nickname. Now, whilst I couldn't find anything really of the band's first 3 releases, I did manage to find some stuff from Audio Prozac, their 2nd album. It had the original vocalist Ed Edge, and he was okay. Wasn't the best. I definitely prefer Juriok personally, both as a person, as a singer, and as a nickname. That's 3 things. Moving on, speaking of the band members, well, there have been a lot of changes. I can't really judge the performances of the older members before Villains because I can't find anything before it, as I've said 10 times by now, so I'll stick with Andrew as vocalist, Tom Williams as lead guitarist, Tom Kane as rhythm guitarist, Frank O'Hare as bassist, and Justin Mance as drummer, even though that will all change soon. I know that I'm wrong, but I'll refer to these 5 as the original lineup, or the original lineup for me. They do mix things up well, blending elements of mathcore, metalcore, and hardcore punk. I'm now getting the weirdest case of deja vu right now. Ugh, or even deja mustard, that's even worse. Moving on. Everyone puts in decent performances. Juriok is good with his vocals. Williams and Kane provide some really good riffs. Justin's drumming isn't too bad, and Frank is a really good bassist. But my biggest problem with the album is that none of them really get that much time to shine. The album is very, very short, yes, but it's too damn short. The longest song on the album is just over 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and about half of the songs don't even clock in at 2 minutes. That's not even hyperbole, that's actually true. It feels so slapdash and rushed from time to time, which is a shame because there's a lot of energy to be had, and Kurt's production provides a great polish, but it doesn't give it enough. Standout songs include The White Flag, Villain, which is a pseudo-title track, I guess you could call it, Lessons in Freud, Soviet, and my favourite in the gang vocal heavy, Capital. Villains isn't a bad album, in fact I do like it, and it's good, but its short length and the feeling of it being rushed sacrifices the band's performances a bit for me. I can only kind of recommend it, but you can all judge for yourselves. Next is their 5th album, Make Your Own History, released in October 2009. About a year and a half after Villains, to be honest. This one is definitely more my speed, even though it's only 6 minutes longer than Villains. So just slightly longer than Power Rangers episode then. Pardon me. This baby came out through Sumerian on its own, just further cementing the label as the band's home. Also, they switched producers for this one, trading in Kurt Ballou for Misha Bull Mansour, best known as lead guitarist and main producer and programmer of progressive/gent metal band Periphery, who I might do an episode on soon, I'm not really sure. He actually provides some really raw and authentic sounding effects for this album, and it's good because that's how the band should sound, I feel. Produced just enough to make things sound better, but not buried under a crap ton of flashy stuff. Also, the lineup does change a bit. Drummer Justin Manas steps up as a rhythm guitarist, Ryan Thompson takes over on bass, and the drumming is handled by one Dan Book. This is also the only album to have this lineup, as well as being the last album to have 5 members, and the last to have a rhythm guitarist. But we'll get to that when we get to it. On the whole, there's a lot more to enjoy in Make Your Own History, which could be attributed to the fact that we get more time with the band this time. Sure, 26.5 minutes isn't the longest time frame for an album, but it works out well here, especially for a hardcore punk band that's a bit above average. The songs are a bit longer and much more coherent, sharing messages of revolution, doing things for yourself, and not buying into other people's bullshit. At least that's my interpretation of things. I could be wrong. I fully accept that I'm wrong, maybe. Regardless, Drew York steps up as a vocalist, and it's easier to understand him this time around. Tom and Justin work well together, and Tom's leads and riffs are helped along greatly, with a good chug from Justin. Thompson steps up really well on the fourth string, and Dan pretty much proves why he's the band's stable drummer, putting in some excellent work behind the kit. There really aren't many problems with this album. I could complain about the time, but for a hardcore punk band, it's really well fleshed out, and as I mentioned, it's a bit above average. I like that, to be honest. I like that a lot. Standout songs include Damien, Manipulator, Fraudulent, Comrades, and my favourite in the title track Closer, which just caps things off beautifully. Make Your Own History is a huge step forward by Straight From the Path, and I definitely can recommend it. It fixes a lot of problems that the villains had. It's a really good length, and it's very accessible and just easy to listen to. We then reached the band's sixth album, Rising Sun, released in 2011 through Sumerian. Pretty much all of their albums are, but this album is the first effort for an autopsy lead guitarist Will Putney as a producer, and thus it becomes the start of a beautiful partnership. He does a great job, and I have huge respect for his work here. He's produced many albums for other metalcore and hardcore bands and what have you, including my third favourite album of 2016, Low Teens by Every Time I Die. That's just sweet. This is the band's first album as a four-piece, with the only change being their bassist, swapping out Thompson for Anthony Altamora. Awesome alliteration, I'll admit. He's otherwise known as Dragon Neck, which is cool. Not as cool as Drew York, though. Anyway, the album just continues to step things up in the right direction. Having said that, there's a little negative patch that I need to get out of the way before I get back to the compliments. That patch is the fact that I couldn't really listen to all of the songs. The majority, yes, but not all of them, with only two tracks, Centre of Attention and The Laughing Man, being completely unavailable to me. I had self 30-second snippets from SoundCloud. The songs aren't bad, but it'd be nice to get full versions of them before I can speak more about them, which I don't think I'll be able to do. Anyway, yes, the album itself has a really nice consistent sound, stripping away the mathcore and focusing more on good old New York hardcore, with a pinch of some rap metal sprinkled in. It's easy to consider this album as the catalyst for what will become their current sound, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Also, there's guest appearances, huzzah. Sorry about the random couple of cuts there. My brother wanted to talk to me, and he was just creeping in general, and I had to. Yeah, it was funny. Jonathan Fiddle from the guest appearances: Jonathan Fiddle from the Ghost Inside, Andrew Goose Neufeld from Comeback Kid, and Corey Brandon Putman of Norma Jean. I forgot to mention that Jonathan did appear on the track Nigeria from Make Your Own History, but that's because that song was too short to give either vocalist, Jonathan or Drew York, really much to work with. He provides some nice screams on Deathbeds, though, with Goose appearing on the song Bring It Back to the Streets and Corey appearing on the song Pray. All is well and good there, but what about the band themselves? Well, they're also well and good. Duke's vocals sound great and easy to decipher. Same with the lyrics, focusing on more political issues along with greed, selfishness and religion. Once again, another catalyst for their sound that we know nowadays. Tom Williams is good on the guitar as usual, Anthony makes a good case on the bass, way. And Dan's drumming is just top notch, providing some really good fast-paced double bass work. Sure, there's a slight lack of gang vocals in my opinion, but the album is no less enjoyable and is bolstered very well by its guest appearances. Standout songs include Dead Rabbits, I Remember, Mad Girl, the intro title track, and my favourite in Pray, personally, I just really like it. I can recommend Rising Sun for its great production, good instrumentation, and awesome guest appearances, but, as always, give it a shot for yourself. I really enjoyed it. Next up is their seventh album, Anonymous, released in 2013. Sumerian is the home, Will Putney is the producer, and so on and so forth. We sort of mean to go on, which is at a weird stop-start pace. The album is such a huge game changer for the band. Remember that rap metal dabbling that I mentioned about in Rising Sun? Well, one of the band members apparently had the smart idea of just going, you know what, let's mix rap metal and nu metal with hardcore punk. Surprisingly, it worked. Once again, sorry about that, my brother had to talk to me and yelled out the word gay. If you didn't catch that in the recording, I'm telling you what he yelled out in case you did hear it, and that is what he yelled, because he can hear what I'm saying, and he's awesome. And anyway, surprisingly, the sounds mixing rap metal and nu metal hardcore punk really works, and it works damn well here. Now, it's around this album's release that the band started to gain comparisons to Rage Against the Machine with similar sounds and politically laced lyrics. It's easy to see that, but obviously the two bands are really different. To compare the two completely fully is kind of dumb, but to have people say that this band sounds like one of the true greats in political music and just music in general, there's really nothing wrong with that. Once again, there are guest appearances with Jesse Barnett of Stick to Your Guns and Jason Butler of Let Live appearing on the tracks Radio and Scissor Hands respectively. I'll say this for Straight From the Path, they sure do know how to utilise a guest singer. It's really, really good, and it's really not easy for a hardcore punk style band, but it just works well, and Straight from the Path know what they're doing with it. I guess this helped with the album's length. It's the longest by the band at just over 38 minutes. Once again, maybe that's just why I researched I could have had a longer album before this. And that time is used to its fullest. Each band member plays their part well, and the production has stepped up massively. Will Putney is just such a natural on the other side of the glass, bringing out the best in the band's sound, while keeping it as raw and organic as possible. Even though the album is damn near 40 minutes in length, there are only 10 tracks, to be honest. You'd think that they would get a bit repetitive, but trust me, the messages on Anonymous bear repeating. Considering that those messages are about authorities abusing their power, being cheated on, and being led to believe in false freedom, I go ahead and call that pretty damn important. And you have to remember, this is in 2013. The fact that that shit still happens today is kind of a shock if you think about it, and Straight from the Path obviously knew just how to bring it to the table. The band members, as I mentioned, all work together really well, each getting enough time to show off because it's a really long album. Drew's vocals are outstanding, and his more political lyrics are definitely where he feels most at home. You can just hear it in his voice. Tom's riffs and anti bass provide a lovely aggressive tone, and the drumming keeps stepping up, with Bug displaying a bit more technicality and speed this time around. Standout songs include Radio, Black Friday, Badge and a Bullet, the awesome opener of False Flag, and my favourite and the title track closer, Anonymous. I feel like Anonymous just might be the band's best work, and it's a good mix of musicianship, accessibility, and amazing production, throwing some awesome vocals, instrumentation and gang vocals aplenty. You've got yourself a damn good album. Listen to this, it's worth it. Trust me. Also, I will stress at the time of writing I thought this was the band's best album before I got to Subliminal Criminals, but I've spoiled that now, damn it. No, I don't care. I really like Anonymous, but we're gonna move on. And finally, we reached Subliminal Criminals, their eighth and most recent album, released in 2015 via Sumerian, Shock of Shocks, and once again produced by Will Putney, once again Shock of Shocks. It's a great culmination of all their work so far. Their rap metal slash new metal slash hardcore punk mix is taken to new heights, as well as some comparisons with RITM, but those are greatly reduced as the band gets more comfortable within their own sound this time around. I will say, whilst I've mentioned Drew's vocals being good, I never really commented on his style. Before Anonymous, he was a good hardcore punk screamer. Loud, yes, but coherent enough to understand and backed by lyrics with really good messages. He steps things up a notch on Subliminal Criminals with his rapping. And, sorry, I just got a message talking about Skype. I don't really care. Where was I? Yeah. With his rapping stepping up a lot from Anonymous, and wider lyrical things including corporate greed, being hacked by the government, and the song about sex offenders. And yes, that is a really, really good song indeed, but we'll get to that later. The producer... I really need a drink. Hang on. The production value pays off a lot with the raw sound remaining, but it just sounds more audibly pleasing this time around, adding a really good accessibility factor. And guess what, for the muckers? There's guest appearances. Again! This time, Sam Carter from Architects, Ruben Reynolds of Enter Shikari, and rapper Cody Beware appear on the tracks First World Problem Child, Eavesdropper, and The Future of Sound, respectively, each arriving and being awesome with their performances. There's more gang vocals on this album probably most ever, and the structure of the song's messages very, very well indeed. There's less repetitiveness this time around, and as much as I liked Anonymous, it did suffer a bit from that repetitive nature, but it worked out well for that album because that album was a huge change and it was really long. That change continues on this album, helping to further structure their sound and style to make it something truly unique to them, you know? The production value is taken up a notch, the messages can't be clearer, even dealing with much darker subjects, i.e. sex offenders, and everything just sounds great. Tom's guitar and riffs sound great, with him playing some great leads, and his bass is great, bolstered by the riffs and Dan Bock's amazing drumming, and of course, even though I brought him up already, Drew York's vocals just sound fantastic, his rapping sounds amazing, with the added bits of some multi-syllable lines, which I quite like, along with his screams backed up by the gang vocals and backing screams of Williams and Altamora. Standout songs include Outbreak, the fantastic opening track in The New Gods, Badge and a Bullet Part 2, which is a series that I hope continues, and yes, did start on Anonymous with Badge and Bullet, Snap, the great closure in These Things Have to Fall Apart, and my favourite in DIEPIG, which is the song about sex offenders. Trust me, you have to listen to it, it's so good. All in all, this album is possibly their best work, bolstered by really good performances from everyone, clear and much darker messages, and great production value. I give this one 2 thumbs up. It's that good. So that's it for this episode of Backtracking. I'd have to say that my least favourite was possibly Villains. It wasn't terrible, but short length stopped it from being better than it could have been, and it winds up sounding kind of run-of-the-mill, like your typical hardcore punk album at worst. Sorry. Most favourite, definitely Subliminal Criminals. I've already listed the reasons why, but the main thing is that it mixes things up well, it's really accessible, pardon me, got great production value, and yeah, it just sounds awesome. Despite the fact that I wrote this episode with a bullet in my foot from the get-go, I did have a lot of fun with it. And I found a new band to enjoy at least. It would have been nice to go over all of this stuff, but I just can't find it anywhere. Don't worry though, because the next band that I'll cover will be a lot easier to find, and that band is the comedy metal quartet Psycho Stick. I'm looking forward to that one. I'll see you all then, and thanks for listening. Take care, and peace.